Hey everybody, and welcome to Checkpoint on Campus, the official voice of college esports. I'm your host, Norris Howard, joined alongside Jacob Brothers out there in Sandy, Las Vegas. What's going on, Jacob?
We have some esports to talk about today, and I am doing great. How about you?
Listen, I'm super excited because we're talking about CSL. We didn't get a chance to talk about Collegiate Star League, as they were formerly known as, now just CSL Collegiate. But we haven't had a chance to talk about them a lot because so much other stuff has just been going on. But their playoffs and finals for multiple esports went down over the weekend, and we wanted to make sure that we touched on to it and talked a little bit about what happened over the weekend. So first, I want to throw it to you, Jacob, and instantly talk about Street Fighter, right? Because listen, y'all know I love Street Fighter, but y'all also know nobody in college plays Street Fighter. So it's one of those things where I'm very excited to see the collegiate scene for the FGC getting supported with Street Fighter and CSL. So what were some of the results from that tournament?
Yeah, we'll talk about the big picture, but this was the only finals where it wasn't close. Wisconsin Lutheran College Lizardman just absolutely manhandled the bracket. He was playing as, you have to tell me the pronunciation of the name, Norris, but Rashid, yeah, because he was in the last finals that we talked about for Street Fighter, and it was just him putting on a show. He dropped maybe one map in the whole bracket, and so it was just kind of a gallery of him just annihilating.
Yeah, and it's so funny. A map? You mean a
whatever?
Match.
You know,
no, but it's
all the
good.
same, but not the same.
It's all good, but you know what? Listen, Rashid is very high tier character, very strong in the meta right now. Very, very powerful character to use, but also very difficult to use. If you don't know what you're doing with Rashid, it's easy to get blown up. But he has very, very strong mid-game, and he could play distance as well. So, Lizardman absolutely running through everybody. It's kind of not surprising to me because, you know what? If you pick Cammy, if you pick Rashid, you got an advantage. But moving on to the Dota 2 finals, we got a couple of big schools that we see usually in League of Legends, but also here in Dota 2. So give us a word on what happened there, Jacob.
Yeah, CSL was a good showing for the University of Waterloo. So the Dota 2 finals was Stony Brook University versus the University of Waterloo, where Stony Brook ended up winning 2-1. And so Waterloo came out in the first game, and then Stony Brook showed how important the draft is. Because the other two games, literally the only thing that changed is that Stony Brook drafted well. Or Brook, sorry. They drafted well, and when you draft well, everything else just falls into place. If you're all playing your right characters that all have the advantage, you know, you're hitting your rotations at the right time. You're hitting your minion waves at the right time. You're ramping up when you should be. And that was really the story of that finals.
Yeah, and you know what? It's so funny, too, because Waterloo goes on and also wins the League of Legends finals. Yep. Which, again, MOBAs, they may just have it figured out.
It's mad impressive. It's mad impressive to be good at two different MOBAs that are completely different.
It really is, because a lot of people, listen, I hear the Dota heads going off in the comments right now and on social media. Listen, all right, we all know that Dota is more big brain than League. Yes, it's more complicated and you can manipulate minions and all that stuff. Listen, that's fine. All right, but to have a school be dominant in both MOBAs is still very impressive. So we want to give Waterloo the roses while they can smell them, and they perform very well in both of these brackets. Now, in Rocket League, listen, we know there's one school at the top of the pile when it comes to this. There's no surprise that the Northwood Timberwolves came out on top, but it was not a sweep. It was not a sweep.
Well, actually, here's the question. Is Northwood a dynasty now in Rocket League? At what point do we call them the dynasty? Because they've won it, at least, they've won, what, more than 4 or 5 tournaments in Rocket League at this point?
Yeah, I think we got to say it now. I think at this point, you know, when you've won 5 majors or something like that, you got to consider yourself a dynasty. I don't know of any team that has won as many besides Akron. And so I definitely think that we got to consider them far and away the best Rocket League program in North America, a force to be reckoned with. And I don't know what else to say at this point.
They're gonna keep on rolling.
The superlatives are all there. So we move towards CSGO, where we're starting to see, again, here's another school, a big school that's starting to invest in their esports program, and they're starting to get some results here, and that's Michigan State. Now, Michigan State in CSGO went up against Virginia Commonwealth University, who, off the rip, if you don't know, VCU is one of the best CSGO programs in the country, hands down.
And this week they proved it.
Yeah, they proved
Unfortunately, like I'm glad Michigan State's doing well, but in this tournament they were known for being the unstoppable team that lost, which is a little unfortunate. But yeah, so because Michigan State didn't drop a single map all the way up until the finals, and then VCU they make it. They in the losers finals they pulled some crazy comeback on Inferno, and then they go against Michigan State, who wins the first map, and then VCU they beat Michigan's map. And then they went on Inferno to clutch it out, but they quite literally take the bull by the horns. And while VCU is a very good school, everyone expected Michigan State to win. All of the casters talked about, they're like, yeah, we really thought it was going to be towards Michigan. So VCU is probably one of the more impressive wins of this whole tournament, to go directly up against the big boys, beat them on their map, and then just beat them again to close it out.
Yeah, it was absolutely a great performance. And lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about Valorant. The Canadians showed up.
Which is
the Canadians have showed up all throughout this, because Waterloo also in Canada. But York versus Ottawa here in Valorant, I mean, that just completely makes us look foolish. The American schools, man. We got two Canada schools in the finals. Like, we gotta do better than this, y'all.
Well, and the issue is that, like, American schools, they really like themselves being good at Valorant. They're like, yeah, no, Valorant's our game. I left Counter-Strike, that old crappy game, to play this new great esport, and we're the best. NA, boom, Cloud9, kind of energy. And then Canada just completely shows them up.
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely had York winning 13-6 in that first game. Game 2 goes to overtime with Ottawa winning, and then game 3 goes 13-10 for York. Let me just say this.
Exciting series.
Very exciting series. We had somebody with 30 kills in this series, which, I mean, that's just...
On the losing team.
On the losing
30 kills.
Team. Bloodbaths all the way around. But congratulations to York, as well as to the rest of the winners from the CSL Grand Finals across the board. It was a good day for Canada.
Well, it was a good day for CSL, to be honest with you, because, I mean, now we can talk about it. Literally, 5 of these tournaments went to a game 3 in the finals. You can't really get better than that. Literally, it was only Rocket League, which was still 4-2, and then Street Fighter was the only sweep. So when you have, 6 esports that are all going to, like, the final round, that's a pretty good environment that you've created there. Huge props to CSL for that.
I am inclined to agree with you, Jacob, but we are going to have more coming up on Checkpoint on Campus, so make sure you stick around.